Hello everybody, welcome and welcome back to Cosmic Waves Tarot. Thank you so much for being here as always. I'm so happy to see you. Today we have a community question. Somebody wrote in because they feel a little bit stagnant in their life and they're wondering whether they should continue to search for a job or to continue to get educated. They said that they do already have a master's degree in the field that they want to work in, but maybe they're interested in taking some other classes or some sort of certification that might be a little bit more employable. So I'm going to draw at least to compare and contrast these options, and we can see if there's a third option as well, maybe doing something else for a time, or taking a break if that's possible. But I'm going to start now with just continuing the job search and seeing what that looks like, what this energy might look like for this person if they just keep looking and push through some of the burnout that they're feeling. All right, we have the Nine of Pentacles, the the Seven of Swords, and the Knight of Cups. So to start off, it looks like there is some good that could come from continuing to search for a job, but it's not completely easy. And so let me start with the more difficult card here, which is the Seven of Wands. Wands in the tarot correspond to energy, creativity, passion. And here the Seven is not the easiest energy to deal with in this area. As you can see, this man is standing on top of a hill. He has the swords the wands staked around him, and he's holding this wand in front of his body in kind of a defensive position. And so when this card comes up, it's often because you've accomplished something, but then you kind of need to fight or defend the position that you've found yourself in. So you've already made it to the top of the hill, you've already, finished your education, but you're kind of needing to do a lot of work to keep that momentum going or to feel like you're fully secure at that place. So I can see this energy coming up where you just feel like you've been struggling for a long time, feeling like you've been looking for a job and looking, but nothing is really coming up. And you just kind of feel like, how long can I keep fighting in this position? So that energy looks very relevant here, and I totally hear that. But there are two very good supporting cards on the other side, which do give me hope that your job search will turn around soon. So let's move on to this Nine of Pentacles. This is a really beautiful card, one that I really love to see, especially in the context of a job search. Because this card is all about luxury and stability and comfort. Pentacles in the tarot correspond to our material world, so our job, our home, our finances, things that you can really just touch and feel in your life. And the 9, of course, comes right before the 10. And the 10 is really the card of completion or finality, where everything is in order. And the 9 is like not quite there, but very, very close. So in this type of card, the Pentacles in the tarot, the 10 is about really generational wealth. Everyone is taken care of, not only you, but the entire family. Whereas the 9, it's more about that individual level where you are stable and you feel like you're in control, but maybe you haven't reached that final stage of being able to give back or feeling like you're fully taking care of your family. So this card does tell me that at least you feel some sort of stability or that some sort of personal satisfaction will come from continuing this job search. So it might not be exactly what you were looking for, or maybe not what you feel the most passionate about, but there is something out there for you that will provide for you, at least in this kind of physical realm. So if you're worried financially, maybe there's an option to take a job that you are not sure if it's going to suit you, but it will pay the bills at least temporarily. And it looks like that could even be a really good fit, at least for the time being. Let's move on now to the Knight of Cups. This is also a really wonderful card, and I feel very supportive in this situation. Cups in the tarot are all about our emotions, our relationships to other people, and our intuition. And knights symbolize, of course, bravery and valor and action in that area. And so, what does it look like to be brave in the realm of your emotions? It often looks like being a bit vulnerable, kind of putting yourself out there, being really in tune with your feelings, and then sharing that with other people. So in the context of looking for a job or continuing the job search, it looks like this might require you to really be in touch with your emotions and maybe be vulnerable by reaching out to other people. What exactly are you looking for? Do you have the capacity, the emotional capacity to keep looking for a job? What exactly do you want to find? Is it important to you to have that sense of community in a job, or that sense of mentorship, that someone is really going to be looking out for you? If so, this card does say to just listen to your heart, and you can follow that in this job search. So maybe you're thinking very intellectually, or you're really focusing on the financial side of things, which is very important, of course. But if you feel some sort of intuition, gut instinct, or you just feel like my heart is telling me that I should either continue or I should pause, definitely listen to that. This knight is very, very in tune with his emotions, and so this is a very good card to remind us that we need to do the same, and we need to really know ourselves well and just wear our heart on our sleeve and share that very openly with others. So on the whole, I think it looks fairly good to continue the job search. Yes, you might feel some sort of stagnation or some frustration in terms of your creative side, but it looks like both in your material side and your emotional realm, you will have some sort of breakthroughs or at least stability for a while. So you will find something that can be supportive of you, but you might just not feel like that final piece is clicking. So let's take a reading now for continuing to educate yourself, maybe taking some other classes or trying to become more employable, just as a little bit of a comparison and contrast. So now I'm going to shuffle and ask the tarot, what does it look like if you continue taking some classes, or maybe just trying to gain some other skills that would make you more employable? Is it worth your time? Is it a good idea? What do the energies look like if you go down this road? Going to shuffle one more time. What does it look like for further education for this person? We have the World, the Two of Pentacles, and the High Priestess. This is a very interesting kind of draw, and I do really like it because of the two major arcana cards here. They're very, very strong cards, strong personalities, and so I think that there's a lot going on in this reading specifically. Let me start with the World because it is such a beautiful wonderful card because it's all about a huge accomplishment and leveling up to the next chapter of your life. And so I think especially when you're talking about further education, it seems like the world really represents that kind of graduation stage of the education where you're able to celebrate and look back on how far you've come and really just kind of bask in the fact that you've ticked all the boxes, you've done everything you needed to. Now you've leveled up and you can go into the next chapter of your life with this new feather in your cap. And so it's a really wonderful energy. And I really, really love this. Every time the world comes up, we want to move towards it and we want to kind of follow that path because it does encourage us to level up and really kind of follow the path that is set out for us. So I think this is a great card because it's saying to me that if you do pursue further education, it really will propel you to this next level. I know this person said they do have a master's degree already, but maybe there's some sort of just little missing piece, some little accreditation or certificate that really is going to fill in the gaps in this person's knowledge or really kind of unlock specifically what they are interested in. And so it looks like this other piece of education, however it looks like, will really put you on this next level of your life. It will really make you feel like, okay, I've accomplished everything. I've been able to do everything I needed to. And now I can move into the job market with much more confidence, with this other accreditation, and just feeling like really on top of the world. So I do really like this. And this makes me say, okay, I would really encourage this person to explore this area. Next, we have the Two of Pentacles. And as I said earlier, Pentacles are all about our material realm. Here, this card is all about balance. You can see this figure is kind of juggling these two pentacles, and he looks like he's concentrating, but he's having a good little time. So when this card comes up, it does encourage us to make sure that everything is balanced in this area. Is our spending balanced with the amount of money we're taking in? Are we able to manage our time properly? Are we taking care of ourselves physically as well as, mentally, creatively, etc.? But when this card comes up, it does say that you have the ability to do so. So it might be a reminder to check that everything is in balance, but this card ultimately says, look, you can do it. You're able to manage everything. Just make sure that you are swimming along like this man is. So maybe you are wondering, how am I going to fit in yet another time of going back to school, or how will I find the time to take the classes I need to take? Am I going to be able to manage maybe a part-time job while I'm doing that? Questions like this card is answering by saying, yes, you will find a way. You will get the time done. Everything is going to be okay because you're able to balance everything. So no matter what moving parts you have in your life, just make sure that you are fitting your further education in properly, but you're going to be able to figure it out and you will be able to manage everything really smoothly. So this is another positive sign that makes me think, yep, good idea to move forward with this. I really like this card for further education. Finally, we have the High Priestess. And the High Priestess is the most intuitive, deep, subconscious expression in the tarot. So she's a super powerful card, not something to take lightly. And when the High Priestess comes up, she is really encouraging us to look very deeply within, because we already know the answers, we already know what we're searching for oftentimes. So even if it's not something we can grasp in our thinking mind, in our intellectual brain, our subconscious knows things that our conscious brain doesn't realize yet. And so maybe there's something that you're looking for, that you want to gain with some further education, or maybe there's a relationship, a mentorship that you're meant to have that you don't quite have access to yet, but you will be able to discover over time once you enter this educational program. And so the High Priestess just really encourages some very deep reflection. She's often not one to make quick decisions. So if you're looking at different programs, or maybe you're not sure which path to take, the High Priestess encourages you to pause and really think deeply before you make a decision. So this isn't something to rush into. Maybe it's even something that you want to delay another semester or into the new year. You just really want to make sure that you're making the right decision when the High Priestess is involved, because it shows that there's really some gravity to this situation. And of course, you don't want to waste your time and your money, etc., going and taking classes if they're really not going to benefit you. So the High Priestess encourages you to look within, really reflect on what you are looking for, what you want to get out of this program. Be very, very honest with yourself about what skills you need, where are your weaknesses, and what could actually help you. Of course, this journey will probably challenge you, and so the High Priestess is here to encourage you to lean on your own inner knowing and your intuition as you go through this program. So it can sometimes be really helpful to keep a dream journal, or to just somehow be able to get more in tune with your inner thoughts, perhaps by meditating, just taking some quiet time to yourself. And as always, the High Priestess does know the answers, so you will come to a decision of some clarity, and you'll know that it's the right thing because you'll feel at peace about it. So that is all for this reading. Now let's compare and contrast both paths for this querent. All right, so finally, to compare the readings that we've done and to talk about which path looks like the better one for the querent in this situation. The top is the continuing the job search, and the bottom is taking a pause from the job search and continuing with some sort of education program in order to be more ready for the job market in a different way. So between these two, I would heavily lean towards the bottom one, but I don't think there's a wrong choice in this situation. These top cards for the first decision to continue the job search do have two very nice and supportive cards here. So there's nothing that gives me a really red flag or says, okay, this is really bad. I do see the burnout coming in this Seven of Wands here. Clearly you feel like you're fighting, or you're just in this position that is really untenable. And so it does make sense, I think, to take a pause on that front, or at least do something that's, not as high pressure, maybe not exactly the area you thought, while you go back and further your education in some way. As I said, I really love the world. Whenever that comes up, it really encourages us to move in that direction. The High Priestess as well is such a beautiful card that really encourages us to be in tune with our emotions and our intuition. And so these two give me a really strong indication that this person should return to school, but should do it really thoughtfully and carefully. Also, if there's any concerns about balancing everything, they will definitely be able to do this. And in fact, it might even increase their skills of time management, organization, things like that, to really be able to move on to this next phase of their life. We want everyone to get to this place of the world where you are celebrating, you're looking back with such great pride at what you've accomplished, and you feel like, I've done it, I'm ready for the next chapter, and you feel full of confidence moving into that. So that's why I would indicate that this second choice is clearer in terms of the benefits that it's going to have. However, if there's, something that comes up in terms of the job search, if something falls into your lap and it feels like it's meant to be, then of course you should move forward with that. This reading just reflects what we know about the energies right now. And of course, nothing is set in stone. It's always possible for people, situations, circumstances to change. So I hope that this reading was helpful. If you enjoyed it, please do subscribe to my channel. And if you're interested in a similar reading, if you have a question, I would be very, very happy to read for you as well. So thank you as always for watching. I can't wait to see you in the next video, and I hope you have a wonderful day.